Mike's Daily Podcast.
Monday! Hi, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Café Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont, the last place on earth. We were from Podcastro Valley ton yesterday, where it was hot. We'll be in Fremont today. It's so hot here as well. Hey, I need to do another Mike excursion, a millennial Mike excursion somewhere, but I don't think I'm going to be going anywhere today.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Because I went all over. I was at the Bay every day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I'll tell you what.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Yesterday I took Basil the Boxer to Foster City, where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Well, they're okay. You know, who am I to say? They seem pretty nice in their Foster City sort of way. Hey, it was nice.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Worth the $5 toll charged to cross the bay. But I'll tell you, it was a beautiful drive over the San Mateo Bridge.
Daily
I feel bad for those people that commute over that every day.
Yeah!
And they get so jaded and so bitter, and they cross it and they don't even realize that they're crossing one of the most beautiful bridges in America. I mean, you look to your right, you see San Francisco. You look to your left, and you see a big basin that ends at Facebook. Where else do you see that? This place controls the world, my friend. Silicon Boobs Valley. No, wait, that's not the name of it. Silicon Valley, thank you. With all the con artists. Hey, look who just walked in. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player. Tell you what. I think that y'all are telling the truth today about the Bay Area.
Yeah. What the hell is that?
No way.
Oh, yeah. Look who else walked in.
Oh, I can make the delicious oatmeal. Oh, boy, have some oatmeal.
Thank you. You know, this root beer is disgusting. All right, we got that out of the way. Today, JARELNIME and the Daily Hayley. We're going to combine them together. The Daily Hayley did used to be daily at one time on this show, about a year ago, a little over a year ago. Hayley would pop into every show, and Hayley was, I think, 21 at the time, and would chime in on all my old man thoughts, my mid-40 thoughts, and now I'm in my late 40s, and now I have thoughts.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And podcast pictures. It's a picture of me, and I'm somewhere along the bay. I think I am at I'm wearing a nice hat, a nice kind of wintry hat per usual. Oh yeah, this was taken in the winter time because the grass is green and the girls are pretty. No, there's no pretty girls by me, but yeah, this is over. And you can see the San Mateo Bridge in the background. This is over at the Hayward Regional Shoreline at the end of Winton Avenue in Hayward. This used to be a city called Russell City, and it was torn down during the Depression when FDR came in with his works program. He said, nope, there was some law in the books that said there could be no city like Russell City left standing. That was, they had to renovate and take it out and move the people. And there's a whole exhibit about it at the Hayward Museum that's there on Foothill in Hayward. For those of you who don't know where Hayward, it's the heart of the bay, it used to be called. It's right there. This is episode 1398, by the way. 1398. Hayward has such potential. It has such poverty and potential side by side. It's bizarre. It's a wonderful. I love living next to it in Podcastro Valley. I drive through it every day. I'm cool with it. The drivers in Hayward suck. Sorry. If you didn't know that, that's a fact, Jack. They are bad drivers.
Sorry.
Hey, so last show I discussed about how somebody asked me, this guy who's in the radio biz, asked me what my show is about, and I told him it's Mike's Daily Podcast. It's a podcast, it's daily, and hi, I'm Mike. And he said, no, what's it? You got 30 seconds. What's it about? And I said, yeah, news. Sometimes there's interviews. And there's kind of an interview on the show today. So I want you to enjoy it. Let's get to that in just a moment. First, I wanted to tell you, Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. I was going to buy something on Amazon yesterday. The podcasting equipment has gotten so cheap, so inexpensive. And I was going to buy some new stuff for my house, and I almost bought it on Amazon, and then I realized, hey, I didn't go through my website, Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. Now, I don't know if I can get, because I'm the account holder, I don't think I can give myself money. I think that's verboten. But if you want to buy anything on Amazon, you should do it, and it helps out the show. Go through the Mike'sDailyPodcast.com website first, Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. Click on the Amazon link. Is the domain Amazon open yet? Wouldn't that just be amazing? It's Monday. Hey, and there's also the PayPal. If you want to help us out that way, you'll become an Inglorious Mike's Daily Podcaster and get a special greeting from all the Café Anyway characters, including from Benita, who is such a developed character. Mark, thanks a lot. I'm well endowed.
Michael, you're saying that my wife is developed and endowed.
This conversation got awkward really quick. Hey, my point being, Mike'sDailyPodcast.com, and all the past podcast pictures are there as well. Hey, let's get to this segment called, hey, I'm just going to read you this news story. That's what it's called. And I'm reading it to you right now. And it's this one about how local and state government agencies from Oregon to Connecticut say they are using a Russian brand of security software despite the federal government's instructions to its own agencies not to buy the software over concerns about cyber espionage records. And you know what? Why would we buy stuff from Russia that supposedly hacked us? It's the Moscow-based Kaspersky Lab, federal agency in charge of purchase. I used to have Kaspersky on. What? Uh-oh. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum. Yeah, that's kooky. Okay, the federal agency in charge of purchasing the General Services Administration this month removed Moscow-based Kaspersky Lab from its list of approved vendors. In doing so, the agency's statement suggested a vulnerability exists in Kaspersky. That computer, by the way, that I had Kaspersky on is Kapow is gone. So I don't have to worry about that anymore, but it could give the Russian government a backdoor access to the systems it protects. Though they offered no explanation or evidence of it, Kaspersky has strongly denied coordination with the Russian government and has offered to cooperate with the federal investigation. Dang. Well, what is this? Is this racist? Are we saying just because they're Russian we can't trust them? Are we back in World War II era? Are we putting our own citizens in camps? Is that what we're doing here in America? You be the judge. The GSA, Government Service Administration's move on July 11th has left state and local governments to speculate about the risks of sticking with the company or abandoning taxpayer-funded contracts, sometimes at great cost. The lack of information from the GSA underscores a disconnect between local offices and federal government about cybersecurity. This, according to the Washington Post. By the way, I read that story to you just now. And Alan Alda was doing a fantastic interview on C-SPAN yesterday. I love to watch C-SPAN on the weekends. I watch C-SPAN every day, basically. But, oh my God, and today there's a girl from Politico, and I don't know who the other girl is. And they are stunning. They're talking to them. They're talking about healthcare. And, yeah, time to snore when they're talking about healthcare. Because if you are as tired of me of hearing about it, oh my God. Yeah, it's important. Rachel Bade from Politico. She's lovely. So Alan Alda was saying that when we communicate that we need to have empathy. And a lot of communicators out there have none. You have to think about your audience, he said. You have to... His discussion was all about his book, which has to do with looking at someone's face when you're talking to them, and how you get feedback from their face when you're talking to them. And Alan Alda is all about communications, by the way. He could be the most fantastic communication studies professor. If you didn't know, I graduated from UCSB with a communications degree 80 goddamn years ago. Oops, did I just drop a GD? It was a long time ago. And by GD, I mean general... hey, the point being, Alan Alda says we need to concentrate more on how we communicate. And we should read his book, obviously. But we should also... We are not that good at communicating. But these guys are wonderful communicators. And they are, well, JARELNIME and Hayley. Here we go with...
JARELNIME. The Daily Hayley. The almost Daily Hayley.
Welcome to JARELNIME. Look who just walked in. It's Jarrell.
Hi.
How are you today, Jarrell?
It's cloudy outside.
It is cloudy where we are. Oh.
But it's a podcaster Valentino, right?
Yes, that's where we are today, podcaster Valentino, and it's dark out. We're not used to that, being spoiled Californians.
Well, it can't be that bad, right? I mean, we've been in the scorching heat burning our buns off all the time, so it's nice to have a change of pace of weather, right?
Exactly. I would agree. Now let's talk about our topic today, which is, what were you going to talk about?
Maybe we should touch on trolling.
Trolling! Now that's when you're going through the forest and you see those little guys with the hats and... No, wait, those are gnomes. That's gnoming. What's trolling?
Well, gnoming or trolling in that particular sense is more the positive side. But trolling, which is primarily used in a negative connotation, it's literally where you're just being a jerk, talking a whole bunch of junk just to get a reaction out of somebody, usually a negative reaction, because apparently you're so insecure with yourself, you got to kill somebody else's mood just to make yours happy.
Thereby you're acting like a troll.
Yeah, so if you were to just say it's just plain, you're just being a jerk.
Now, what experiences have you had with trolling, Mr. JARELNIME?
I've seen it mostly online, where kids, because obviously they are not in a local vicinity with some folks, they think that since they're behind a keyboard or they're behind a computer screen that they're safe from any forms of retaliation whatsoever. But what they don't realize is that screen name that they see, whether it's a chat room or even Facebook for the matter, which actually brings you more into the liability of possibly being retaliated against. You're basically doing something that could endanger yourself or endanger other people around you. And all for what? Just for what, 2 minutes of alleged fame?
What? They're getting fame from trolling?
They're interpreting the amount of views that they get or people who chime in about it, that somehow that constitutes as fame. But when in fact what they're doing is they're actually just creating a record that's being recorded. All transcripts are recorded, and they're just creating a record of themselves being a delinquent, to which if an employer ever found out about it or a potential employer finds out about it, that could actually jeopardize their chance of actually getting a job.
And they're just being a jerk. Why do they... I don't get it. And I guess it's like some people in before computers, they were just annoying, but now there's a whole other way of being annoying and not being held responsible.
Well, here's the thing. The technology is really just a tool. It's a matter of the attitude, to which there could be an issue of a lack of parenting, a lack of role models, and ultimately a lack of sense. But if you don't have good parenting, you don't have good mentorship, there's a good chance that the youth, or in even many cases, you can see some adults these days just behaving like loose cannons. Mm-hmm. And there's quite a bit of adults that control too. They may not realize it, they may not think they are, but they actually are. One in particular is like, elders, we get it. You had a bunch of challenges in the past, but you're not going to actually influence the kids by simply saying, "Oh, back in my day, we didn't have all that." That's not going to get them. Those are harsh words, and that's just going to drive anger.
Mm-hmm. Sort of like when we would hear grandparents go, "Oh, it was snow. I had to walk barefoot to school in the snow both ways uphill."
Yeah, at that point, the kids are just going to interpret that as a pity party, unless you formulate it in a manner to make it a life lesson. If you're just mouthing off just to be in a one-upper manner, all you're doing is basically you're just trolling in a way of that.
One-uppers really bug me.
Yeah, you already get enough of that when you're on a date and some jackass comes by you and starts talking about what they did, which nobody gives a crap.
On a date?
There are some who actually do that, which I'd say, guys, come on now. Or girls, whoever's doing it, knock that off, okay?
Oh, you mean guys that go on dates with women? All they do is talk about how great they are?
Or a guy who's a bystander, who interrupts the conversation between that guy and the girl who are actually going out on the date.
Oh, that is annoying. Oh, now our topic has changed to annoying people that are annoying.
Sometimes you got to talk about it. Now, some of you are saying, what does this have to do with anime? Well, there are some television tropes in anime that are related to trolling.
Oh.
But sadly, usually it takes the form of the genre of ecchi. You remember that term, right?
Yeah, ecchi.
Yeah, so you may have this one guy. There was this one anime. I'm not going to say which one it is, because I don't want you going over there looking at it. Next thing you know, you do all that other kind of crazy stuff. But this one dude just started jumping and saying, "Hey, what's going on around here, yada, yada." And then he starts groping different women and gets his butt kicked.
Oh, wow.
And I say more power to the ladies that did that karate chop and ultimately broke his leg.
If I could bring it back to the one-upper thing, because I find it so fascinating, is there, it's some people, you can't talk to them. Like, I work with someone, not here, but we're not at work, actually. We're at Café Anyway.
That's right. Hey, can I get another latte?
Hey, look, it's your favorite, Benita the Rodeo Queen. Hi, Jarrell. How y'all doing? I hate it when people one-up me. How do you like my horse?
Very beautiful. Can I ride it sometime?
Sure. I just got potty training. Bye, all bye. There she goes. She just left with Nilly. Bye, Nilly. Nilly was quiet today. Yeah, so I was talking to some guy. Whenever I talk to him, he always one-ups. I can't just say, "Hey, I went and walked my dog." He's like, "Well, hey, I met Tom Hanks, and he and I drove around in his electrical car." It always has to be something better.
That's because he seems to have an issue of insecurity within his own soul.
Insecurity in the soul is what it is. So trolling, I guess I've been lucky because no one listens to this podcast, but...
Yes, they do.
But if they do, they're nice and they don't troll and they don't yell. When I worked at the country station in Ventura at the end of the 90s and the beginning of the O's, I got some email. This is when I first discovered email trolls, and they would email me and go, because I went by Matt Michaels back then, "Matt Michaels, you suck." And I'd be like, "Well, why don't you say that to my face, you person that just wrote that and hit send? Come and meet me and say that." But no, they hide behind. And it used to be in radio too. We still deal with this in radio. People that call up and they're safe because they're hiding behind a phone. But that whole internet thing where you're typing, it gives you a whole added other dimension of disconnected.
Or so they think. Because here's the reality. That person whom you're going at it with, they may be a stranger to you, but they could be an associate of someone you know.
Oh, yeah.
So at that point, now you've got an issue to where you're being held accountable for that actions because they told someone else who come to find out, they say, "Wait a minute, that sounds like somebody I know." And then when they ask for confirmation, next thing you know, now you're getting a lecture.
Right. Now that would be good.
But that's just the easy part. Because what can work, the worst case scenario is they actually find where you are and you get your ass kicked.
Oh, that would be bad. That's when the trolling gets some patrolling.
Well, what's even more is there's this issue also of wanting to get even, or more so wanting to get ahead of the individual. But when the reality is, what benefit is that actually going to yield? See, the problem with society today is many are only thinking 30 seconds ahead, not 30 years ahead.
But you should live like it was your live like you were dying was a Tim McGraw song. That goes back to the country thing. There's Carpe Diem, which is live like you're eating fish. Or no, live it's like your last day. Seize the day is what it means. But yeah, you should think ahead and be responsible for your actions. YouTube said you can't comment anymore unless you have an account with us in Gmail and YouTube. And a lot of people had issues with that because they're like, oh no, I like being anonymous and typing in stuff. But now they've got to fess up to their actions.
Yeah, I'd say that was a good move by Google to actually turn down some of the basically internet bullying in the way, which is basically trolling, because now there is an account that is associated with that comment, and therefore it can be traced even more accurately than it was before. So how about this? How do we deal with the troll?
You throw salt on them?
Unfortunately, that doesn't work.
Oh.
But one way to deal with them, and this is probably the easiest way that takes the least amount of time, is simply just say, hey, Doc, I don't know what's going on with you. It seems like you probably had a bad day, but I hope it gets better for you. But I can't converse under these circumstances.
Yeah, and just walk away.
Yep, that's the bottom line. It doesn't make you look like a punk. Let's touch on that for a minute. Where did that analogy actually come from? Has anyone even bothered to consider that?
Punk?
Or the all action of just walking away instead of getting in the person's face and acting just as immature as they are. Like somehow that equals an act of weakness. It's somehow an indication of weakness or basically being a punk. Now, who came up with that analogy and where's the actual validity in it?
Of walking away from someone?
Yeah, basically walking away from immaturity. How does that constitute weakness?
Oh, right. It should be you're the bigger man, and you're walking away. When they go low, we go high. That whole thing.
Well, the concept of this is you're saying it because ultimately trolls just want attention. They basically want fuel for whatever their particular condition it is, and really there's something that's driven. There's an underlying cause in that. Now, even it's still wrong. Just know there is a underlying cause to that. And oftentimes when you meet them in a position of wisdom, they're left by themselves to fend for themselves for that negative attitude, to which at that point people are going to raise the eyebrow at them. Now, another way to deal with trolls, if you actually have time on your hands and you actually want to get to the bottom of it, you're not always going to be able to get to the bottom of it, because many of them are just doing this just for kicks within their insecurity. You ask them to answer questions that are related to wisdom. Because in that, if they were to answer that question in a form of negativity or in immaturity, again, they are speaking for it from themselves, and therefore they have to deal with the repercussions of their answer, especially in front of a whole bunch of people, which oftentimes is where they actually set their match, is in front of a whole bunch of people.
Wisdom. These trollers just need to get a life and get away from the computer.
Yeah, they do, but they also need guidance when it really comes down to it. And the more folks that actually become less tolerant to their actions, because that's another thing with bystanders, is they always want to see some type of drama going on. We claim that we don't like drama, but yet we get excited when the drama occurs.
Yeah, humans are attracted to drama. But just say no.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. Is look, I can't converse with you under these circumstances because they are counterproductive. So if we cannot get to a more positive subject, I'm going to have to call it quits, and you have a nice day.
Well, thank you, Jarrell, for your words of advice. You're a smart person. You've taught me a lot. And now you've taught the world a lot on Mike's Daily Podcast. And perhaps soon you'll get to ride Benita's horse, named Millie.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh gosh, I gotta go. See you guys.
Hold on, here it goes. There we go. That was a real door slamming. Thank you for being on my show.
I figured that last part would be funny.
Thanks, guys. Haley, by the way, was defusing a bomb during that interview, so he was a bit distracted. But next show, as we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley, we'll have the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Communication. It's all about that. I need to watch that interview again. It was, I think it was on Book TV, and should be up on their website on cspan.com, Alan Alda. Just fascinating. And Alan he's pretty old at this point, but he is so wise, and just everything he was saying was riveting. Just like this show. Riveting. Rivet. And thank you for enjoying this show. If you're a frog, you got a little extra bonus there. Enjoy your Monday and have a great week. We'll be back soon. Hopefully tomorrow.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!